Okay, so let me tell you guys about my second boyfriend success story. Ex boyfriend, just saying how I have manifested him unconsciously. Remember, I didn't know about the law of assumption or law of creation whatsoever at that time. So, I was still in a relationship with my boyfriend number one. Well, number one, and we were together for about a year or two already. And my boyfriend at that time, my first boyfriend, he was living very far away from me, so it was long distance and it was very, very, very hard. But we actually went out for about 3 years. But anyway, long story short, we went for a fishing weekend, me and my parents. And I remember I've met two beautiful, gorgeous guys. The one's name was James and Rainier, and they were absolutely gorgeous. But there was other two girls as well, so there was a little bit of competition and all of that. But it ended up that I ended to receive both of their numbers, and we actually chatted for quite a long time. But before we went home, because we were busy packing up to leave because the weekend was over and the next day we were going to school, so my parents decided that we need to go, and they asked me to take my sister, that was still a little bit of a baby toddler slash, she was still small, to the park while they are busy doing the cleanup and all of that stuff. And as I walked, you know, to the park, I remember I looked up and I saw this guy. He had his gorgeous, gorgeous green eyes and his black hair. He was absolutely stunning. But bad boy vibe, I'm telling you guys. For the ladies that love the bad boys, he had tattoos and everything. So, anyway, I kind of like the bad boys. Anyway, so I walked by this, passed by this guy, and I thought, oh God, this guy is absolutely gorgeous. And I just nod and smile and walk past. And like most guys, they don't like girls with babies, because usually some of the girls, they tended up to be their babies or whatsoever, but that was not my case. And as I was in the park, this guy came to the park as well with his little sister, and he sat next to me on the swing, and we started to talk. And to give you a brief explanation, I was still in a committed relationship with my first boyfriend, but as the time passed, this guy, we actually, that time we didn't really have cell phones and all of that. So we had a landline number, and I had a cell phone, he didn't. So we've lost communication. And every time when he came up on my in my mind, because I didn't have communication with this guy, at that time there was no such thing as instant communication. The time when this all happened, there was the Nokia 3310s. That was the fancy phones. And then the more advanced cell phones started to come out, that was digital, like Motorola with the color screen and all of that. But I didn't have that phone, and he hadn't had a phone at all. He had a landline. So I've always, when I got a memory or a feeling or I had a thought about him, it was intense, and I would just have this feeling. And I remember that I had this thought how it would feel like if I maybe were in a committed relationship with him. How would he would be? Is he a kind or gentle person or whatsoever? And I kid you not, happened twice, where he ended up coming to visit me at my first, it was at home when he did just pitch up there, and secondly, before we started to date, he actually came to my work to surprise me. And all of that happened in between a year and a half, after I broke up with my first boyfriend. From that day we've met, I've remember I had like 2 or 3 times a thought about him, and I've imagined how it would have feel like, and I had this intense feeling of feeling happy and content, and it felt so good. And it ended up I was dating this guy for about a year and a half, and that is my success story. And that was unconsciously that I've manifested this guy into my life. I didn't know about conscious creation or conscious manifestation. So, but that is a perfect manifestation success. And I was very happy to experience it, even though it didn't work out. I just was happy that I had given that desire to myself, because now I knew I have experienced it and it was good. It didn't last it, but it was also okay, because not everything is meant to last forever. And I was a different person, and I've changed and everything. And just this same guy, you guys, when he left, I've actually for 2 years was single before I've met my third boyfriend, and then my husband. Because we married now, is my ex-husband. But I remember that I was obsessively trying to do spells and all of this weird voodoo woohoo stuff to try to get him back into my life. And I had no evidence whatsoever if it was working. The only thing that happened, I went to the into town, and then we actually walked past by each other, and I kind of had this feeling that it's going to happen, that I'm going to see him that day. And we went to the movies and all of that, and we went our separate ways, and we've lost contact as well. And then after that, I've tried all of this stuff, weird stuff, that spells and I can't even remember. But anyway, doing light candle thingy, do a prayer, I don't know. I've tried everything because I was so obsessed to try to get this man back into my life, that I was obsessively doing something to get it. And then I've met my ex-husband at that time, and we got engaged. And then this same guy ended up stalking me, like scary stalking me. And 2 months before my wedding, he came to my working place and we had a chat. And that guy was so smitten and so sure of it that we can still have a chance. And he wanted to go on with our relationship and with our life as if nothing ever happened between us. But unfortunately, I just told him that sorry, I couldn't do that because I'm engaged and soon to be married in the next 2 months. So I actually ended to tell him, no thank you, I am not interested anymore, even though I was so obsessed to try to get that guy back. I didn't know about conscious manifestation, but it ended up that I actually perfectly manifested him back into my life. Alright guys, hope you enjoy it. If you have a success story or anything you could or would or want to tell us about, let me know. Leave a like and subscribe and comment down below. I would love to hear your stories. Tell me when you had something that you manifested unconsciously without even knowing what manifestation was about. Tell me your story. I would love to hear that, because that is where everything started. and then you become aware, and then we can talk about that as well. All right, guys, have a good day.